Fair warning here, this video contains minor spoilers for Seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. Nothing massive, probably stuff you already know even if you haven't seen the show yet, but watch at your own discretion. Ever since I started watching The Mandalorian, I couldn't shake the feeling that it would make a fantastic video game. Even in the very first episode, there were a bunch of things that felt very video gamey. An NPC giving missions, upgrading gear at the forge, endless waves of faceless enemies. Oh, and don't take any of that to mean it's not a good show. It's great. I mean, what else are you gonna watch on Disney+? Reruns of Friends? Of course not. Friends won't be on Disney+ until Disney buys HBO. So my prediction is sometime next year. Aside from that, I just love Star Wars games in general. But most of the time you play as a Jedi. They are the face of the franchise after all, and it's awesome to wield the powers of a telekinetic space wizard. Jedi Fallen Order was fantastic, except for a few missteps in the boss fights. Those just weren't good. There have been countless games set in the Star Wars universe. 138, 139, 140. There, I counted them. You are wrong. Fine. There are a lot of Star Wars games, and they used to be good. Most still view the Knights of the Old Republic series as the peak of Star Wars games. Then the EA empire struck back, and for the most part, has proven themselves untrustworthy with the license. Sure, they've released a couple of decent games, but they've also released some really bad ones, and just haven't utilized it to the extent they could have. Along with the much maligned sequel trilogy, the 2010s have not been kind to the franchise. But The Mandalorian has been the one shining beacon since it started streaming last year. For so long, the idea of a good Star Wars show was just a glint in our eye, but The Mandalorian was the true new hope. And I just can't stress enough how great a video game it could be turned into. So that's my goal for this video. Design the core concept of a Mandalorian video game. Especially now that the series is over, so many people enjoyed it and its legacy could continue in video game form. Let me know about your ideas in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Maybe I could do more like this for other underutilized franchises. Firefly, I'm so sorry. But for now, let's stick to The Mandalorian. What would the game look like? Well, first, we have to figure out the genre. Adventure, yeah, that fits pretty well. Open world, yeah, I guess that works too. Shooter? I mean, Mando's got guns. Rhythm? You know, I'm starting to think this might not be the best way to determine the genre. I know that open world games have been completely overdone in the last few years, leading to most of them feeling stale and unoriginal. Thanks, Ubisoft. I think what causes that feeling, in many cases, is a lack of traversal methods. Thankfully, in Star Wars, there's no lack of ways to travel the planets. We could use speeder bikes, spaceships, or even the Mandalorian's jetpack. And if they nail the physics for flying those things, it would feel heavenly. I guess in order to discuss how the game should handle its mechanics and world, we first need to determine how the story should be told. Someone who watches this is absolutely gonna despise how I do this, aren't they? Alright, it's hopeless that everyone who watches this will agree on my way of doing it, so let me know in the comments what I should do differently next time, or the thing I should make a game out of next time, or just leave a comment to support my channel. Thank you! There could be 20 or so main story missions consisting of the contents of each episode from Seasons 1 and 2. I'm sure they could split certain episodes into multiple parts or add extra content in between places, but I think following the main story from the show makes for a good baseline. It's not like this would be canon anyway. I'm not even sure how that would work, telling two different versions that are both canon. Who knows? But there's no point in retelling the story through a different medium if the gameplay doesn't feel good. So let's break down what would be the most important elements. Character customization, combat, world exploration, and travel. I would start with the combat because I'm sure that's what you all clicked on this video for in the first place, but the customization kinda leads into it. Stay with me because I think I have a lot of good ideas for it. Here's how I imagine the character customization screen to a certain extent. Throughout the game, we could craft and buy different pieces of armor, gadgets, and weapons. Let's take a look at the mock-up UI I created here. You can change your helmet to ones that different Mandalorians had, like Jango Fett or Death Watch, or maybe even have helmets from other places, like from Clone Troopers. Of course we'll need to be able to wear our Beskar armor, but we'll need to create an advantage to other types so it's balanced. Perhaps his original leather armor will make him harder to detect while stealthing, or he could wear Stormtrooper armor in order to infiltrate a base, as he did in Season 2, Episode 7. There are really endless possibilities, but let's just hope that every armor has an established use. So in my mind, we could have different armor slots for the helmet, chest plate, gauntlets, shoulders, and leggings, mixing and matching and customizing with tons of different possibilities for not only looks, but gameplay as well. But what about weapon slots? Let's discuss all the awesome tools our bounty hunter could have at his disposal. There would be slots for melee, a light gun, a heavy gun, a backpack, grenades, and 2 gadgets, one on each gauntlet. What melee weapons would he have? Well, in the show, he carries around the vibro knife. That and other knives could be easily unlocked or bought near the beginning of the story. Another great fit would be the Beskar spear from Season 2. And to go along with that, perhaps other Beskar tools, such as shields or swords. There's no doubt that they exist, they just haven't really shown up. An electro pole would also be a fun melee weapon, stunning enemies and perhaps shorting out certain electronics for manipulation. And of course, Mando needs the Darksaber. It would be an endgame weapon, but absolutely fantastic to wield. Ah, the Western hero's greatest weapon, his gun, and the Mandalorian certainly uses it a lot, specifically an IB-94 blaster pistol. An IB-94 blaster pistol. Let's throw in a DL-44 blaster pistol too. Or for most of you uncultured swine, the gun Han Solo uses. Also, a stun pistol that could fire bolts of electricity, a sonic pistol which up until now has only appeared in Knights of the Old Republic, so it could be considered a nice callback, and ion blasters function as stun weapons against humans, but are even better against droids. Honestly, there's surprisingly little variation between the small blasters in Star Wars. There's a lot of overlap. Thankfully, that's not the case for larger weapons. The Mandalorian's Ambin Phase Pulse Sniper Rifle. This thing. It literally just disintegrates people. We could also use a normal laser sniper rifle or a slug thrower rifle, which fires solid projectiles. No, I was wrong. There's a lot of overlap here too. The last kinda unique gun would also take up the backpack slot, the laser cannon. It needs the backpack as a power supply, but is extremely powerful and is basically the Star Wars equivalent of a minigun. What are some other things that could take up the backpack slot? Well, Mando's jetpack, the Rising Phoenix, is an option, and so is Boba Fett's variant with a powerful missile. Maybe the one with the missile has less fuel in it, so the player can't fly as far. Or the backpack slot could be filled by, a backpack and carry extra weapons, helmets, or grenades. Speaking of grenades, here we actually do have a lot of variety. Adhesive grenades, cold grenades, poison grenades, plasma grenades, smoke bombs, thermal detonators, those are all pretty self-explanatory and have interesting uses. But now the gadgets, the real star of the show. We've seen Din Djarin, yep, that's his name, use flamethrowers, a grappling hook, and whistling birds. We've also seen Boba Fett take advantage of wrist lasers and rockets. All those weapons and gadgets are cool and all, but there is a notable part of the show that I've left completely out of the video so far. Baby Yoda. I refuse to call him Grogu. Oh wait, I just did. Dang it! We've seen a variety of force powers on display from the cutest Star Wars character ever, including telekinesis and force healing. So what if we could utilize them in combat? Mando has forged a bond with Baby Yoda. They understand each other. Even using a force push every once in a while would be a fun ability. Also, how would Baby Yoda travel around with him? I guess he could either be in a backpack or in his floating crib. Possibly even on Mando's hip. All of them would work pretty well. Just give Baby Yoda gameplay value. Hopefully there are a proper amount of combat options, but what about exploration and the transportation methods that Mando could use? I think there are some good methods. Obviously he can walk, probably, and speeder bikes are a pretty ubiquitous thing across all Star Wars planets. He can use the Razor Crest to travel from planet to planet. I'll go into a few more planet-specific vehicles soon, but for that, we'll have to determine what planets he can even visit. My vision for the planets is to have each one fully explorable, and allow us to travel around the whole thing. Obviously, there would be a lot of empty space and the planets would be a lot smaller than normal, but if they nail the transportation, I don't think people would mind. Random encounters and seeing other travelers would add life too. Navarro and Tatooine would certainly have to be fully explorable. They appear extremely often in the series, Navarro in 6 episodes and Tatooine in 3. The forest planet Sorgan also appears twice, so all of these should definitely be fully explorable and are hopefully packed with side quests and stuff to do. A personal favorite planet of mine,
well, it's a moon, actually,
is Trask, which appears in episode 3 of season 2. I just think it has a fantastic aesthetic. The crowded towns are perfect for video game missions, there's an ocean allowing for more exploration and transportation options, and the set piece that takes place here is pretty awesome. I definitely want to explore this place as well. That right there is 4 open worlds to create. And honestly, I'm tempted to ask for more, but even with that, I might be being too greedy. The smallest moon in our solar system, Deimos, is 4 times larger than the map in The Witcher 3, which is already one of the biggest handcrafted maps in video game history. And I don't know what the budget for this game would be. I want to speculate in a meaningful way about things that could happen, not pie-in-the-sky conspiracy theories, so I have to have realistic expectations for this non-existent game. Another possibility is having a computer algorithm spit out all the planets we need, and then simply add the features on top of that. If that was dense and well laid out, it's another possibility, I suppose. I heard this was what Ubisoft used for a lot of their games, but I wasn't able to find a source, so take that with a grain of salt. That's 4 worlds with some good variety: volcanic, forest, water, and desert, so the designers should be able to make some unique missions. What I really don't want is a bunch of small areas that we fast travel to and from, like in Jedi Fallen Order. It worked fine there, but for an explorative bounty hunter game, it just wouldn't fit. A lot of the locations in the show could potentially be mapped to one of these planets, too. The ice world in the first episode could be the other side of Trask. Baby Yoda could be on Tatooine, on another part of the desert planet. Ahsoka could be living far away from Cara Dune on Sorgan. I mean, that would absolutely destroy the possibility of this game being considered canon, but I don't really think anyone expected it would be anyway. Now back to vehicles. Tatooine gives us the land speeder and the Bantha as traversal methods. Trask allows for underwater vehicles and boats. Navarro is a lava planet, and if there's an ocean anywhere, we could have the lava skiff. And the AT-ATs could be available on Sorgan, because those are used in forests, although to be honest, they should probably just be obtainable everywhere if you have the money or the guts.
So I've outlined the exploration, combat opportunities, and modes of transportation in great detail, but I thought I'd also describe a singular mission, so you viewers really get a feeling for my vision of the game.
Where'd you get that?
A good question. For another time.
So, you're a member of the Bounty Hunters Guild, and Maz Kanata has hired you to find an invaluable object, a Jedi's weapon. Some say it once belonged to Emperor Vader, others believe that it was used by Luke Skywalker, but whatever it is, it's priceless and elusive. She gives you a location on the North Pole of Tatooine. A team of pirates have set up camp, and she believes that they possess the saber. You fly to Tatooine and make your way up there. Now you have to decide exactly how you're going to do this. You could go in guns blazing, it would be tough and dangerous, but maybe you can handle it. You're covered in Beskar and have a force wielder at your side. Or perhaps you want to take the stealthy approach, find an air vent to crawl through and find the treasure room without anybody seeing. Maybe you pretend to be an ambassador, sent by a third party that wants to deal. Or maybe you'll use your mask to scan for structural weaknesses in the wall, blow a hole in it as a distraction, and draw the guard to that portion of the map. Or maybe you'll head to Mos Eisley, hire some other bounty hunters there, and have them help you invade. Most of these require intelligent AI, good writing, excellent level design, and high-powered physics simulation, but don't tell me this stuff isn't possible. It's a new console generation, baby! The PS5 and Series X can handle this.
What I'm really trying to stress with this is choice. We can't have a proper bounty hunter simulator if every single side mission forces you to do it in a specific way. That might be alright with the main story missions, but here I think the side stuff is just as, if not more important.
So, there's my potential design of what a video game for The Mandalorian could look like. This video is far from encapsulating everything, so definitely let me know in the comments what ideas you have for a game like this, and what suggestions of mine you agree or disagree with. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you really enjoyed the video, you should just nuke that subscribe button.
I don't know what to tell you, smashing it just isn't enough anymore.
If you want more of these sorts of videos, leave a suggestion about what I could design a game for next. There are endless possibilities, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I've gotta go now. Season 2 just ended, and I have to go make crazy theories online about what's gonna happen in the Boba Fett show.
Boba Fett's gonna be in it.